Live from Pix 11 with today's top 11 stories. It's the Pix 11 Midday News with John Muller.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Midday with me, John Muller. Here are your top 11 stories on Pix 11. Number 1, police investigating after a car drove into a restaurant. It's happened around 12:30 on 9th Avenue in Columbus Circle. Right now, it's not known what happened. There were 6 minor injuries. All right, let's talk about the weather. A flash flood watch in effect from 2 p.m. through late tonight for northeastern New Jersey. This will be warm and humid this afternoon. Strong thunderstorms developing. Some of these storms, they could have very heavy downpours. Friday's going to be cloudy with early showers, clearing in the afternoon, and sunny for the weekend. Low humidity, temperatures in the upper 80s. Number 3, disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein in court this morning. He is switching legal teams for the second time. Just 2 months before he's scheduled to stand trial for rape and sexual assault, his former attorneys asked to be excused from the case because they didn't get along with Weinstein and they were facing pressure from the public.
We are hoping that as the trial progresses, as the evidence is put forth and witnesses are heard, we will hear the other side of this story.
I do not believe that it's appropriate to go after a victim on the witness stand with, quote, venom, end quote. If this is Ms. Rotuno's strategy, and if she believes that because she is a woman, she can get away with it, she may find that a New York jury will be turned off.
Weinstein pleaded not guilty to 5 counts of rape and sexual assault involving 2 different women. Now, if he's convicted, he could face life in prison. Number 4, 3 people dead after a fire in a Queens home. Investigators say it was set deliberately. Pix 11's Anthony DiLorenzo has the very latest from East Elmhurst.
And we're getting a better idea about the tenant who allegedly set this home on fire, killing himself, a 6-year-old girl, and her grandfather. He'd apparently been taken in by the homeowner, been feuding with her, possibly was going to be evicted, and then retaliated in the worst possible way. We have seen investigators here on scene for many hours. Overnight, fire marshals worked on scene to collect evidence in what's believed to be a tragic and deadly case of arson in the wake of this blaze here at the 2-story home at 93rd Street and 23rd Avenue. Firefighters raced here Wednesday afternoon within 4 minutes of the first 911 call and went inside to find 5 victims, most of them clinging to life. Fire department sources tell us a 23-year-old Daniel Abreu Nunez was taken in by the family, the homeowner, after falling on hard times, and is believed to have poured gasoline inside the kitchen and set it ablaze after a fight with that homeowner.
She says, "I'll never help anybody again. He just came out of the hospital. I let him live here temporarily, and the next thing I know, he's burning my house down." I saw they were doing CPR on one of the victims. And then after that, just one gurney after another as they removed people.
Most of the victims were believed to have been visiting the home. They were from the Dominican Republic, and at this hour, a 10-month-old baby along with his mother are at a Manhattan burn unit in the hospital listed in critical condition. Reporting from East Elmhurst, I'm Anthony DiLorenzo, Pix 11 News.
Just a heartbreaking story, Anthony. Thank you. All right, today at the Javits Center, a protest against Amazon. Demonstrators telling the tech giant to cut ties with ICE.
Freedom, freedom! Amazon and ICE, we don't need them, need them!
Immigrant rights groups say Amazon helps ICE and Homeland Security, but hurts families. They say the company is supplying the 2 agencies with tech support, like facial recognition software that helps identify undocumented immigrants. This is part of a nearly $7 billion contract.
Our goal today is to pull back the covers on Amazon's relationship with murderous institutions like ICE, Customs and Border Patrol. Amazon hosts the technology that companies need in order to enable ICE to carry out the operations, to carry out the harm done in concentration camps and detention centers around our country.
The rally against Amazon is one of several coordinated actions taking place across the tri-state area before Prime Day, which is July 15th. The protesters say the corporation should be held accountable for profiting off the Trump administration's anti-immigrant agenda. Well, President Trump expected to take an executive action adding a citizenship question to the census that the Supreme Court recently shot down. So it's unclear how the president could actually act alone without getting some kind of immediate court action in response. But for now, his administration is still printing those census forms without the citizenship question. Immigration raids expected to begin this Sunday. Thousands of migrant families who already have court orders to be removed are expected to be rounded up and deported. The raids were previously postponed when details were made public. The New York Times says the mass deportations will take place in at least 10 cities over multiple days. Louisiana preparing for Tropical Storm Barry as they are still dealing with flooding from earlier storms. Barry's supposed to hit the Gulf Coast as a Category 1 hurricane on Saturday. Right now, there is a tropical storm warning for parts of Louisiana. The governor has declared a state of emergency, saying the entire coast of Louisiana could be hit by the storm. Forecasters say that storm could drop 18 inches of rain in some areas. Number 9, starting today, speed cameras expand in New York City school zones. Pix 11's Henry Rossoff live in the Mount Hope section of the Bronx right now with more. Henry.
John, I want to show you the first of hundreds of new speed cameras. This one right up here behind me that we're going to see within a quarter mile of schools around the city. And we'll pan over and show you PS 28, which is the school that this camera is designed to protect, particularly the intersection of Anthony Avenue and Tremont Avenue, which is nearby. And we're told by local authorities among the top 10% in the Bronx for pedestrian injuries and fatalities. Thanks to new state legislation, the city will be rapidly increasing its speed camera program from an existing 140 cameras to 750 cameras. That'll happen at a rate of about 40 per month over the course of the next year. There's also an expansion of the time cameras will be operational. Anyone going more than 10 miles per hour over the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., regardless of if school's in session or not, will be given a $50 ticket.
You've been out here for just a few minutes, and in just a few minutes, your camera's probably caught more than a few folks right behind us who were just speeding by, even though there's all these cameras here, police presence. So think about what happens when none of you are here.
So we're going to stay out here and talk to drivers, and we've already spoken with one woman who lost her son in a tragic pedestrian accident. I have to tell you, the drivers that I'm speaking with are relatively sympathetic to the speed cameras. They don't want to pay the fines, but they do acknowledge there is a lot of speeding at this intersection and others around the city. You can catch that report on the Pix 11 News at 5. Live in the Mount Hope section, Henry Rossoff, Pix 11 News.
All right, Henry, we'll see you then. Thank you. Well, MTA subways hit a major milestone. For the first time in 6 years, on-time performance is more than 80%. It is a big improvement from January of 2018 when it bottomed out at 58%. The MTA credits the Subway Action Plan for the change. It provided additional funding and more workers to clean debris and improve infrastructure. All right, finally, from the Pix 11 archives, in 1982, shadowy figures are showing up on walls on the Lower East Side. Turned out to be the work of the Shadow Man, Richard Hambleton. He was an artist who rose to fame only after this report aired. 2 of his works recently sold for almost $1 million. He died in 2017 at age 65. Here is a fascinating look into Manhattan street art 37 years ago this week.
11 alive.
It may be graffiti, but it's also considered art. And you can see examples in the East Village, the Bowery, and all over Soho.
The figures are life-size and painted all in black. And when you spot one looming in a doorway or perched on an alley wall, it's startling.
Well, it's kind of frightening. Looks like someone's leaping out at you.
What was your reaction to it?
Surprise! Art gallery owner Sandy Milliken knows what evil lurks on the walls of Manhattan. He sold this painting for $1,500.
His work is expressionistic, it's gestural, it's very fast painting, it's loose painting, it comes from the gut. They're very much about the location they're in. They're above cars or figures coming out of garbage cans. There may be some that are funny, there may be some that are frightening, there may be attack figures, there may be passive figures, male, female.
They are still being painted at night, anywhere, and we know who the shadow artist is. He's Richard Hambleton. He used to paint on sidewalks, like the police do to mark where a dead body fell. And so if you see one of these when you least expect to, now you'll know the shadow artist has struck again.
Pretty cool, 1982.